Welcome to PsyABC's, bringing you all of your psychology information from A to Z. I am Dr. Elizabeth Reyes-Fournier.
And I am Dr. Paul Reyes-Fournier.
We are not brother and sister. We are husband and wife. That needs to be clarified.
Yep.
Because in some places they get very confused. So who are we? If you know us from a long time ago, you might have remembered us from Coupledom, where we would write about relationships, and we had a lot of readers back then, and it was very cool. We also had Relationship Rehab, where we had we would do a video once a week, where we talked about relationships, relationship issues. PsyABC's is a brand new venture for us, where we want to bring science-based psychology to the masses. And I know there's a lot of websites out there with that stuff, but
we're trying to make it a little bit more approachable, a little bit more practical.
Well, and always, also incredibly science-based, because
always science-based.
This is the problem with some of the stuff that's out there. It makes it very pop, like what we in the biz would call pop science or pop psychology. We want to separate the woo-woo from the real.
Right.
You know, psychology is a science, and we're going to be talking science. And because of that, PsyABC's will be, for lack of a better word in this political climate, woke.
Yes.
Right?
Yes, absolutely. We are leaning into the concept because, one, we are compassionate people. Okay? Yeah. We do believe in inclusion. We do believe that people have the right to exist.
Mm-hmm.
And that's going to permeate everything that we say. So we're not even going to pretend otherwise. So for those of you,
we're not going to play. We're not playing it, like politically correct.
No.
And well, especially in today's climate of like, you don't know where we're coming from. Yeah. We're coming from the fact that science is real.
Yes.
That love is love. That human beings have the right to exist. Human beings have the right to a good education that is not, edited by fascists.
Yeah.
So
if you are here listening to us right now and you are a flat earther, you're probably at the wrong place.
Anti-vaxxer, you're definitely in the wrong place. Especially with what we're about to talk about.
Yeah.
Today, because we're going to go back to basics. We're going back to what is it? Second grade now?
Yes. Because
that's what they're doing. I mean, in our day, we didn't learn this stuff until we got older. Right? Like, the actual scientific method.
The scientific method we went over.
Not like this.
In this.
Not okay. But kids today learn it earlier. Much earlier. Yeah. And they're able to do, like, for example, when our kids were in school, we have 3 children, by the way.
Yeah.
When our kids were in school, they were doing like real science stuff. By 6th grade, they were doing real science.
Yeah, for us in high school, we were doing things like science fair kind of projects.
Right.
Whereas they were doing
from first grade.
They were doing that kind of stuff much earlier.
Yeah. Which of course, for the nerds that their moms and dads are, made us giddy. Because a little bit of background on us, aside from, so that you understand where we're coming from in psychology. I have a PhD in psychology. My master's is in counseling. My experience is as a psychotherapist for 30-something years. Licensed, and I worked in all sorts of different areas. Paul's experience in psychology is more, different, obviously.
It's very different. I have a bachelor's in physics, an MBA with a finance specialization, a graduate certificate in accounting, and my PhD is in industrial and organizational psychology.
Right.
So I actually skew towards the business end of things.
Right. But the interesting part is it's all the same science.
It really is.
Because science isn't this, it's not this, like Lego brick that has to go in the exact same spot. We take from what works.
Yes.
And today we're going to talk about the scientific method, what it is, what it isn't, why it is when some people, on the news, especially now, people like, I'm not saying it, RFK Jr., say things that the science, blah, blah, blah. The man does not know what the hell he's talking about.
No, he does not.
And it is, even as we're not medical professionals, and yet we listen to him and go, what the hell is he talking about? He doesn't understand science.
No.
And even to say things like back in the like the winter, springtime when he got confirmed that they were going to come up with a cause of autism, as if they hadn't been working at looking for the cause of autism. Like it's like, oh, it's putting garlic in your food or some ridiculous thing like that. Like as if causes are so precise.
Yes. And that is his assumption.
Yeah.
His assumption is that there is this linear cause.
Right.
That is that somebody took a pill, and apparently that's what they're going to say.
That's what we're going
somebody
to go with.
took a pill and caused autism.
There are things, and I'm not going to, there are things that, for example, if a woman is pregnant, she should not drink and or use drugs because fetal alcohol syndrome, addictions can pass to the child. That is a proven fact. We know that.
Yes, right.
That, this is the teratogen is what it's called. A teratogen is an outside source enters the female body while she is pregnant or they are pregnant, and it passes through to the fetus. Right.
Yes.
That being said, that is a linear thing. However, there are factors that limit that. So it's not a sure thing.
No.
It's not it is a gamble to do it because this is why we say just don't do it, because we can't tell when this would happen, how it happens, how much you need to drink or use. We don't know that.
Right. And remember, with things like cigarettes, cigarette smoking, the packages for a very, very long time said that they may, I don't even think that they use the word cause.
Now they do.
Now they do, right?
In
the old days, that
there's a risk.
There was a risk, right?
Right.
Part of that is, obviously, there's part of it because they didn't want to sound too bad, but really, the science part of it was that causality wasn't necessarily there.
Right.
Okay, this was all correlational.
Right.
There was some type of relationship, but
we didn't know what it was.
Right, they didn't know what. Right.
And that's the thing with science that we're going to discuss today, that science is constantly changing in the sense that as we learn more, we change it. Because to be a scientist is to really be open to the possibility that what we know today is not going to be true tomorrow.
Right.
That they're going to find something and go, wait, it wasn't this all along. Or it is this, but it has to be this and this and this. And that's how we learn. Right. I mean, we saw that during the COVID time, and we especially saw the scientific illiteracy in our population during that time, because then it was like, oh, well, you said don't wear a mask at the beginning. Now you're saying wear a mask. Right. Why are you doing that? It's like because science learned more.
Right. So things that science is not.
Right.
Okay? Science is not a dogma. It is not a belief system.
Right.
It is. So, this is not going up against religion or anything of that nature. This is not a belief system. I do not believe in science. Okay? It is a methodology.
Right.
It is simply a method for doing stuff. That is the reason why it continues to grow.
Yeah.
Why.
It's a method for doing, but it's also a way of thinking
It is.
about things.
Yes.
And with that process of science, with the scientific method, it forces you to think a certain way, especially when being presented with a problem or a question. Mm-hmm. So there are 7 steps to the scientific method. Okay? And we're going to go through them. Now, I want to be really crystal clear. The scientific method is not different with whatever science you're studying.
No, right.
So, my degree is in psychology. I could read a medical journal and understand what they did.
Yeah.
Because the method's going to be the same. The math is going to be the same.
Mm-hmm. Even the way it's written up.
Even the way that it's written up is the same. Maybe the components, like, if you're talking about certain proteins with specific names, maybe I don't know what that is specifically. Mm-hmm. I could look it up. But if it's a well-written article, they've explained it to me.
Yes, they have.
So when people say, we'll get to that one because I'm not gonna jump
ahead.
I'm not jumping ahead.
No spoilers.
So no spoilers on this. So the first step, which is so natural, because it is a very natural process. The first step is ask a question. Mm-hmm. Identify a problem. Really, it's for me. I always give the example of what I wrote my dissertation on years ago, based on my own life, looking at my life and being married and all this. Is like, why is it that so many marriages fall apart? Mm-hmm. I didn't know, and the question was, why is it that so many people get divorced? That was my original question. And this is the part where when I'm working with students, because I work with graduate students on dissertations and stuff, it's like, that question is everything.
Yep.
That question drives your behavior. This is how we do psychology, because we're going to say things like drives your behavior. It is, we are by nature, human beings are by nature inquisitive people. We always ask the question. And the answer isn't always, A plus B does not always equal C.
Right. Not always this linear thing.
Yeah, again, the linear thinking, and that's where you go, like, always looking for that one boogeyman of what's causing this. And human beings, by and large, whether if we're looking at biology or psychology, sociology, even things like anthropology, all the other sciences, do not have a simple answer.
No.
Do not have so it's not like I could answer that question with one question.
Right.
With one answer.
One answer. Yeah.
Why do people get divorced?
Uh-huh.
Isn't answered with because they don't love each other anymore. It's like, well, yeah, but that creates another question, doesn't it? Why not?
Why not? What's love?
What's love? Yeah, that's what? Why not? They were before. Why not? What happened to them? And then people will say things like infidelity. It's like, okay, well, not all marriages break up because of that. So this is where number 2 comes in, and this is Paul's been waiting for this one.
Oh, okay. Doing the background research.
Right.
That is number 2.
Yeah, okay. But this is okay. Yeah. Announce it well. Number 2 is say it.
Conduct background research.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
But say it like you mean it, because this is the part where everything falls apart.
This is where especially again for us right now in politics and on social media, this seems to be where things fall apart, because people think that they can conduct their background research on the toilet in 5 minutes with their phone.
Yeah.
That is not background research.
No.
That's looking at a YouTube video.
Yeah.
It takes us longer to do our background research, as researchers, as people who publish, and we try to publish twice a year. I don't think we're going to hit it this year, but
Yeah.
basically, for the last few years, we have been publishing twice a year and doing pretty well with that. It takes us longer to do some of the background research part than it does to actually do the research.
Right. And it takes us longer to get closer to formulating an understanding of the topic than it does to actually do the rest of it.
Right.
And for somebody without any kind of training and or supervision in conducting research, especially when you're reading things like blogs that are written by non-professionals, regurgitated by them. So you're basically, it's like, when we talk about primary data, primary sources and secondary sources, tertiary sources. When we say primary sources, we say peer-reviewed journal articles. Now, not all peer-reviewed journal articles are created the same. I literally read one the other day, and this is my opportunity to say, I am so disappointed in Dr. Drew Pinsky.
I am too.
Because, oh my God, what a fall from any kind of, wow. Going all the way back to K-Rock, Loveline, back in the 80s in Los Angeles. Dude, what the hell?
Yeah. He has sold his soul.
He has sold his soul to the devil, and it is such crap. Anyway, so it was an article where they were like, oh, all vaccines cause horrible things to your body, and they were analyzing the data set from the VAERS, the Vaccine Adversary Effects database, which is an unmonitored system that just takes in reports. I took this vaccine and I grew a third head. Yeah. I took this vaccine
they don't
and
verify
I died.
Anything.
And it's like they don't verify. It's just lists.
Yeah.
So to take that thing and use that database as if it's real.
Yeah.
If it's real numbers. Unverified means it's not a reliable or valid source of a material.
Okay, that being said, because I don't want people to start thinking that peer-reviewed journal articles, that they should doubt them. Okay, because for at this point, there's a reason why they're peer-reviewed.
Right.
Okay, the idea is that scientific community is going to turn back around and look at these things.
Right.
They're going to reproduce and check the methodology, check the data sets.
Well, you don't replicate. I mean,
you might replicate. It depends
but I don't. I mean, it's like I just did a peer review yesterday. I'm not replicating anything.
Right.
All I was doing was really looking at their method, and really what journals want to see is that another professional from the same area looks at their method and how they wrote it up and go, hey, that was really sound. That makes sense. And they want you to say, hey, that was good. But they also want you to say, that's not how you do it.
Yeah, right. Yes.
And
we have been,
we've been rejected before.
We've been rejected before. Where they were like, hey, I think you should look at these people also.
Right. Like
before you do this.
You missed this data, you should have reviewed this literature before you did your stuff.
Have you seen this stuff? That kind of stuff.
Like what I was reading yesterday, the article I was reviewing, the problem was how they presented their results. It was like, it just wasn't enough information.
Yeah.
And it's like, you have a great idea.
Yeah.
But the way you conducted it, your research method did not work. It wasn't robust enough, especially, and they introduced their own bias into it by priming it was really bad.
Yeah.
And it's like, how do you say that in a nice way, but not nice?
But realize too that you're talking about the primary peer review,
right?
Okay, where somebody is looking at it before you get to even publish,
right?
Okay, and kind of grading it, so to speak. Okay, there's the whole scientific process, though, has consistent peer review.
Right.
Okay?
Right. This is just
You're
the
right.
beginning. We're
This
not
is the
even
beginning,
there
right.
yet. We're not even there
So
yet.
we're still looking at peer-reviewed journal articles. That's where
Right.
you get the information.
That's
from.
where you get the information.
Okay? Generally
That's where you're going to
speaking.
get your definitions of what you're talking about,
Mhm.
what your questions are
Right.
about.
Has somebody else already researched this?
Yeah. Do you
Yeah.
have an answer out there?
Right. Is the answer already there?
Is the answer eggs? We don't know.
Yes.
Right. It could be out there already.
By the way, some of the answers are already out there.
Yeah. That's the thing that always
Little side
gets me
note.
too. It's like, oh, nobody knows. Really?
Yeah.
Yes, they do. I actually had a student, and this is a research method for undergrad class that I teach, that said that I want to compare the bite strength of sharks. And I'm like, Google the thing, dude. That's not...
That has been researched to death.
That's been researched to death.
Yeah.
You can look at tape. There's a table out there for that. That's not real research, and it's definitely not psychology research.
Yeah, right.
Okay, so number 3, formulate a hypothesis. Now, this is where Lee goes on a tear.
This is one of the hard parts.
A hypothesis is a predictive statement. So let's go back to my original question, why do marriages fall apart? And during my research, I found things like, hey, people who stay married and are married a long time are happy, right? And during that research, I also found, hey, people who have the ability to make meaning in life tend to be happier, have more life satisfaction. So then the hypothesis I came up with is that making meaning is related to marital satisfaction. Based on the research, they hadn't looked at that yet, right? And so I made that predictive statement. Now, notice how I said it. It's going to be related to that. This is a hypothesis and actually in the actual dissertation, you'll see that it gets more even specific, because I'll say the presence of meaning is positively correlated with marital satisfaction. So what does that mean? That if presence of meaning goes up, marital satisfaction goes up. Why did I do it like that? Why didn't I say presence of meaning causes marital satisfaction, or people with presence of meaning make marital satisfaction? Because there are 2 kinds of relationships in science. One is causal, and one is a correlation.
Right. Causal is really, really hard to find.
Right.
That's
well,
a big deal.
in human behavior,
definitely
causal is you are looking for the one thing that makes something go bing on the other side.
Yeah. Even in biological systems, it's rare.
Yeah, but it's rare.
Causality.
But you can, controlling everything else, you can do it as an experiment.
Yes.
And that's called an experiment. An experiment requires 3 things: randomized sampling, an intervention group, and a control group.
By the way, you just went into number 4 as far as the steps.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Gosh, look at me.
Right. Design and conduct an experiment. So we're number 4 now.
So no, this is, we're talking different research methods.
Yes.
But that's all well and good. And people think that that's better, right?
Yeah.
Like that experiments are like this gold standard of something. And the reality is no. Because for psychology, our goal is always, the goals of psychology are to be able to observe a behavior, to be able to understand the behavior, so that we can define that behavior, so we could predict that behavior, so we're able to change and or control that behavior. Okay? And I know you're looking at me all impressed, going,
That's right.
How does she remember that? Because I've said it so many times.
Of course.
I've said it so many times. What does that mean? So, like, let's say I observe somebody in my office and their behaviors, okay? I start trying to understand who they are and what's going on, and what does this constellation of behaviors, I'm like hitting my mic, mean, because I have to use my hands for some reason. What does it mean? And then once I start getting into this idea of like, oh, wait a second, I may be looking at somebody with acute stress disorder. If I define it as acute stress disorder, then I could predict that if we don't do something quickly, it's going to turn into PTSD. So the interventions have to be done quickly so that they don't move into that. So that's how I'm changing and or controlling the behavior. Right. But that same method of observe, understand, define, predict, and control is what Paul does in IO psychology.
Yeah. Right.
You know?
And that's where experimentation becomes, in some cases you can do it, and in some cases you can't.
Right.
So you can change the color of the light bulbs.
Yes.
Okay, not a problem. See whether the people, the employees are more productive with pink lights or blue lights.
Right.
Not a problem.
You could turn on the music, turn off the music.
Right. Things like that's fine.
That's things that interventions you could do that aren't going to harm the participants or in any way, because that's a big deal.
Right. Now, flip side, and again, remember I do business psychology, if you will. I cannot look at the productivity. Well, I can examine the productivity of people with trauma and without trauma, because trauma informed in business is becoming a big deal. But I cannot necessarily turn that into experiment. Right. I'm not going to sit there and say, okay, I'm going to take half the employees and traumatize them. Okay? You're not allowed to do that.
We're not allowed to do that anymore.
You cannot do that.
Back in the good old days of psychology where you could zap people, you can't do that anymore. Yes. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. For some reason, I don't know what reason whatsoever, some people believe that we can still do that. And there are some places that still use, cattle prods. Yes, and I'm not going to get into that because that's going to get me a lot of hate mail.
Well, that can be a different episode.
That's true. Okay. So we formulated a hypothesis. That was number 3. Uh-huh. Design and conduct an experiment. It's either an experiment or it's a study. Yeah. If it's an experiment, it's got to have those 3 things.
Go ahead, keep talking or something.
Yeah, no. We'll just have him cut this out.
Yeah, go ahead. Where were we?
We were at design and conduct experiments. Okay, so it's either a study or an experiment. An experiment has to have the 3, the randomized, the intervention group, the control group, to be an experiment. And a study is everything else. Yeah. Most psychology work is studies. Okay. The one that I always use with my students is something like, I would love to know what causes addiction, but I can't take 1,000 babies and raise 500 of them in a beautiful setting, right. And the other 500 in squalor and and abuse. Yeah. And even then, if I did that, what we know for a fact already is that some people raised in beautiful atmospheres, just gorgeous things that have every opportunity in the world, still become addicted to things, still develop substance use issues. So it is a factorial type of causation or relationship, not this linear thing that we've been talking about. I know I use big.
Yes, that's a nice word.
I know that's a sexy word for us. Yes. Okay, so when we do these studies, the next thing we do is collect data. Collecting data is math.
Yes. Yes. Collect and analyze it.
Yeah, you collect and analyze data means that we're collecting numbers. Now, yes, there are things that like qualitative studies that collect interviews and stuff, but even qualitative people who do qualitative research have to take that, break it down into themes, and in a numerical order of importance or in terms of clustered themes, you are seeing that there is some sort of framework math behind it.
If any of you are like psychology students out there and you're listening to this, and you're in school or something like that, just know that qualitative analysis is hard.
Right.
Okay? To do correctly, it is not an easy thing.
No.
A lot of our students always fall back to that as if that's the easier one.
That's the easier way to do
And
it.
in my opinion, at least,
no.
Quantitative is so much easier because
qualitative is so much more front work.
Yeah.
And then you have to do. You're still going to get side eyes from people because you did qualitative work.
Yeah.
Mainly because it's like, okay, you have a very small sample size, things like that. That's another thing when you're doing the research design. What's your sample size?
Right.
This is the thing
the
that the data part that is going to be, I want to look at, especially with this autism study that's going to be coming out with RFK Jr. What's your sample size to indicate that Tylenol causes autism and or what is it, lack of folate? Now, any woman in the Western world that has any kind of prenatal care, and thus another push for universal health care, if you have prenatal care, you are given a prenatal vitamin, and that prenatal vitamin has folates in it.
Always. That is the first
That's
thing
the
that
first thing.
Yes.
And if you are a female and you have a month, or if you are a person who gets a monthly period, you should be taking folate and iron. We know this. You need folate to be able to process your iron. So, yeah, I know.
Again,
I'm just going off on my little tangent because that just pisses me off. Okay. It's like
anyhow. Yes, we're collecting and analyzing data.
We're collecting and analyzing data.
Yes, that's where
and
we're
those
at.
are numbers.
Yeah.
And if you look at some of our spreadsheets when we've collected data, like one of the last ones we did, we had millions of points of data because it was a very large study. Right. And collecting and analyzing data that's the least sexiest thing you're going to do.
Not in our world.
Not in our world.
Well, you and I.
Data, you clean up your data because you have to like transfer, like if it's a name, you have to put a number to it, and you want your data to look right. No, we do not change the numbers. For example, if I predicted something in my hypothesis and the data after all the calculations are made and all the math is done, like if I had a correlation, I'd run a correlational analysis on it, or if I'm looking at differences in group, I'd run a t-test or an OVA on it. If I find that my hypothesis was not supported with the data, guess what?
You publish it.
You report it.
Report it.
You report that it didn't work. I was wrong. Yeah. You don't write it like that. You write it more mathy, but you do say at one point, my hypothesis was not supported with the data. Why? Because it's still important.
Yeah. I mean, that's a really hard one for people to understand.
I don't understand
that. Right, because good science.
Yeah.
If your hypothesis is right or wrong, no matter what direction, that becomes really important. And a good scientist is going to be delighted.
Right.
Okay? I mean, if we're talking about autism, if I do research and I find that aspirin does not seem to cause autism, okay? There is no correlation there. That would be a huge finding.
Wait, don't say it like that because you're going to confuse people.
Okay, right.
That aspirin has no relationship to autism.
Right, yeah.
Okay.
Aspirin has no relationship to autism. That would be a huge finding.
Exactly.
Okay? That people would be like, oh, wow, that's amazing.
Fantastic.
Right. Yet still, we're looking at it, from that ego point of view.
Right. And that's something that we have to be honest about, is that, there are scientists out there, very unethical, immoral, horrible human beings, publishing science that is there to just lift themselves up.
Mm-hmm.
The reality is that if you work in the science field, your goal should be to add to the science, not add to yourself.
Yep.
That's, that it is, I know it sounds selfless and stuff like that, but if we look at this, on the grand scheme of things, I know that, my name is not going to carry on after I die because of my research. I don't think I'm, at my age, I don't think I'm going to be that popular in the psychology field. But anything that we have published and it's gotten cited by other researchers, it lives on.
Right.
And that gives you that little boost of, hey, I added something there.
Mm-hmm.
That's all it is. And there's nothing, the idea of becoming rich and famous because you're a scientist is kind of stupid.
Yeah.
But we do it because we like it. Mm-hmm. We do it because not just like it, but it really, once again, drives our behavior. Yeah. If you were to, for example, go to dinner with us, okay? Like walk to the restaurant, and he's laughing because he knows where I'm going.
Uh-huh.
On the walk to the restaurant, each of us will come up with at least 3 questions that pop into our head as we're walking.
Yeah, it's not like this is our agenda.
Yeah, it's
we
just,
see something and
we see something, we see somebody behave a certain way. We see a sign and go, what?
Yes. Meme, because we also, one of our research areas is within social media.
Yeah.
So, all of that kind of communication just fascinates us.
We're always like sending each other things on like, oh my God, did you see that meme?
Yeah.
And I was going to say something about memes, but I totally forgot what it was.
Well,
but anyway.
Anyhow, we would immediately, at least 3 questions.
At least 3 questions, easy peasy. Yeah. Because that's how we talk. Yeah. And we like that. And it's like, ooh, that's a good one. Or, now,
admittedly, it's step 2 where things often will fall apart.
Yeah.
Neither of us have enough time to sit there and research something and start getting all the background information and all of that to really turn this into a study or into a, into something to look at.
And that's, the thing is that what the general public doesn't get is that most scientists don't have research funding.
No, right, exactly.
And even the big ones with the have lost so much of their funding in the United States. Mm-hmm. It's like, we don't have funding. We self-fund all of our research. And it's on our dime and on our time that we do this stuff because we love it. So, this is like tithing to science because, nobody's paying us to do it. Yeah. Yep. So, in other words, it is kind of like a religion. Isn't it? Okay. So, anyway, so we communicate the results. It has to be written in such a way.
Wait, you're missing draw conclusions.
Oh, did we? Oh, I did. I'm sorry.
Draw those conclusions.
Draw those conclusions. Yes. I'm sorry.
Yeah. That's where the math helps.
Right.
Because you can draw the conclusions based on the mathematical analysis.
Right.
And now, I'm saying it that way because, yes, there is some researcher brain power that goes into it.
Right.
And there is some filters that we have. We might look at something and say, oh, okay, I think it is because of this.
Right.
But it's still going to be driven by the math.
Right.
We
well,
cannot...
no, hold on.
Yeah, go ahead.
It should be driven by the math.
Yes.
And I'm going to fix that because you also use the word filter, and I'm going to change that word to biases.
Biases. There you go. Okay.
That
some people might use lenses there
also.
Okay.
Sure.
Yes.
We need to be really careful that when we are drawing conclusions and writing everything up, like I'm squishing the last 2 together.
Right. Good.
That we don't insert our biases, that we don't gild the lily, as they say, and say it was almost significant. I have read things that said it was approaching significance. Yeah. No. It either is or it isn't.
Yeah.
especially when we're using certain kinds of math that are really written, that are created specifically for yes, nos, that is significant or it's not significant. Right. Yeah. And that's an important thing to
significance say. Is the probability that it was happening from randomness.
Right.
Okay.
By chance.
And so,
that the results are just chance.
Right.
And if you could
might
say,
be chancy. Yeah. It's not,
it
will not work.
If you could say with 95% confidence that these results were not by chance, you have some pretty good significance. Right. Now, the inferences you draw from it are things like, so then if making meaning and marital satisfaction are related, and the way that they're related, and they're significantly related, then it would be a good thing in like marriage therapy to work on making meaning and how to make meaning of things. What does that mean, Lee? Well, it means that things like, it's raining outside and I had a whole day planned. Oh, well, that means that we could binge watch, whatever. That, change your mind and shift really quickly. That's what making meaning means. That you find the silver lining in things. That at the end of the day, you do things, you know what? I am so glad that they canceled that because we got to spend the night alone, even though we were looking forward to it. It was great that it happened. You shift how you focus on things. And people who are able to do that, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, the point is, that's a great inference to draw from that.
Right. Yeah.
Inferences I can't draw from that are things like people who don't make meaning are going to divorce.
Right.
I can't do that because you can't, because that's not what the results say. Right.
I must admit, I'm really crap at the inferences part.
Right.
When I get, once the data analysis is done,
you're like a dealer in Vegas.
Yep.
You're out.
That is, and part of it is because I know I don't want to bring in my biases.
Right.
I don't want to.
It's hard.
And so I'm sitting there doing maybe it could be this, and maybe, which actually are all potential inferences.
Right.
Okay.
But I think that's the thing about one of the things you have to do when you're doing a discussion or writing it up is that you also have to say what your limitations are.
Right.
In your study, so that you want another scientist to pick this up and go, you know what? This was a good study. I'm going to replicate it and see if it's right. Okay? A great example of this was the Wakefield study for autism.
Okay.
I know. I keep going back to autism.
Okay, so hang on. We're into the communication part, right?
We're into the communication part.
Okay, so we communicate results. Okay,
We've communicated results.
Write this up. Okay.
Right.
So I want everybody to know that things get written up.
Right.
You're communicating results. It does not help the scientific community to have that there. Have that just in your drawer somewhere, and nobody else knows it. Okay. Right. So then, Wakefield
was published in the Lancet.
Big deal.
That is like the premier medical journal
yes.
of the world. Why?
Yeah.
Because his study was groundbreaking at that time, because he found a relationship between vaccines and autism.
Yep.
According to him.
According to this.
According to his study.
Yes.
Well, this just sent the whole medical world, pediatricians, immunologists, everybody nuts. Not because they're trying to protect vaccines. No. Because holy crap, have we been doing that?
Right.
Because the assumption was that he didn't lie.
Yes. Right.
We assumed that. We assumed that you got published, you weren't lying.
Right.
Because you have to go through so many hoops to get published.
Right. And this is this is that peer review part. This is the part where he has communicated the information. So now people are going to start looking at it. Some people are going to rip it apart. Some people are going to just start putting it, and I'm saying people within the scientific community are going to start putting it into context of the rest of the science out there.
Right.
Okay? Because, you're looking at autism, very specific thing, and vaccines in this case, very
MMR
specific
vaccines,
things. MMR, yeah. So very specific things. They're going to start looking at it within the context of, say, all vaccines and
Right.
multiple mental
Right.
health or
Right.
so there, and things are going to start playing out from there, and this
Right.
becomes part of that peer reviewed.
Well, peer
Concept.
review happens before you get
Yeah.
published, but then the community of scientists
Right.
continue to replicate,
Mhm.
to build on that science. One of the problems
with the
is that
Wakefield
with the
stuff.
Wakefield stuff is for 12 years they were working on trying to replicate what he found and could not
Right.
ever replicate it.
Yeah. They were looking in different populations.
They were looking at different
for the same relationships.
Right. And what they found was that after 12 years, and it took them 12 years to go, wait a minute, maybe he was lying.
Yeah.
12 years.
Yep.
To get to maybe he was lying.
Right. Now, for the people out there who are going, well, then, see, science was wrong for 12 years, that's not exactly it. Okay? It took them 12 years to get to maybe he was lying.
Right.
There were articles coming out going, we can't
replicate this.
We're not finding the same things.
Right.
It's not fitting in with the rest of the science.
And then they did the full investigation of his study,
and it just kept falling apart.
And it just kept falling apart because he made up a bunch of stuff.
Yeah. Because at first it was, oh, we can't replicate it. Then it became, oh, well, we can't replicate it because his population wasn't exactly what he said. Right. Then it became, and it just kept going down.
And the downhill.
He made everything up.
He made, he made up the patients from that hospital.
Yeah.
He, and then it's like he had an ulterior motive for publishing this, and then all of the things that happened was it ended up in a retraction from the Lancet, the first retraction that they ever did.
Yeah.
In other words, saying this was crap. So sorry.
Yeah.
And not only that, I mean, the idea that he started I was about to say a bad word. He started a movement based on bad science, and it's just grown from there.
Yeah, he lost his license for this.
Yeah, he's no longer allowed to practice medicine in Great Britain. So then, of course, he moved to Texas.
Yeah, exactly. And then
where they treat him like a god, but he can't be a doctor there either.
No. Right. So he has created a movement.
Right.
Okay, based on bad science.
No, based on lies.
On lies.
I'm not even going to say it's science.
Not even science, right?
That is my opinion. Right. That if you publish something that you know is a lie, that is a lie. And I'm not even going to say bad science. Bad science is like you used a shoddy method, you didn't know any better.
Yeah, right.
I've seen a bunch of those.
Yeah, right.
But and nobody caught that. It happens. But he lied. That's you cannot get more unethical than that. Right. Unethical is, people like Dr. Oz being a medical doctor and pushing things with no evidence.
Right.
And saying that it has evidence.
Yeah.
That's a lie.
That is a lie.
That's not bad science.
No, that's a lie. That's fraudulent. That's fraudulent. Opinion. Yes.
And I'm being very clear about the difference here, that if you're telling me that, oh no, the evidence here, show me the evidence. Mm-hmm. Show me the peer-reviewed evidence. I want to see the math. I want to see the data. I want to run the data.
Yeah. Right.
That's how.
And that is things scientists do.
Yeah. When we were in COVID, the thing that kept me sane was reading peer-reviewed articles. Mm-hmm. First of all, just being completely blown away by the scientific community and their wherewithal to be able to conduct good science during a global pandemic.
Yeah, right.
Rapidly was,
And a little side note on that one. Even the articles that came out there, most of them had some type of writing on the top saying, this is not a finished product. Right. This is, we had to do this fast, but we want everybody to know.
Right.
Yeah.
But they
So
also
they
did
yeah.
have peer review,
And
but
but
it was
still
being
peer
done
review,
quickly
right.
because, it was being done quickly. Anyway, so I know I get a little passionate about this, but we're not, when we talk about science, okay, and this is, again, it's like, well, I don't believe in the science. I just, I go back to the Neil deGrasse Tyson and goes, science doesn't care what you believe.
No.
Science just is. It's a method. It doesn't care.
Right.
It's like, it's like your chair doesn't care that you don't think it's a chair.
Yeah.
It doesn't care. And people make it sound like, listening to RFK, well, don't trust the experts.
Yeah, then who do you trust?
Then who do you trust?
Right.
I want a plumber to do my appendectomy. What are you talking about?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, of course you need to trust the experts. You need to be able to do your due diligence. You need to have some critical thinking and go, hey, I don't know about this. Let me get a second opinion.
Right.
Hey, I don't know about this. Let me read up on this and ask good questions about this. Okay?
Do people out there know that Google actually has a special search engine called Google Scholar?
Yeah.
That gives you scholarly articles.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're not going to get all of the the
blogs or
the blogs and the random fluffy stuff. These are actually going to be peer-reviewed journal articles. You might not be able to read all of them, like the whole thing, because some of them you have to pay for and all that kind of stuff. But you'll at least be able to read the abstracts, which is a synopsis, a summary of everything that's in it. So
yeah. So yes, it's like I get so passionate about these things.
But the science is there.
Yeah,
it's actually available and accessible to everybody.
Even if you're on the toilet.
Yes, exactly. Right. If you're going to do your research, do good research.
Do good research. Okay, so here's the thing. Things that piss me off.
Are we going to make this a segment every day? Things that piss her off.
No. No. Like, the vocabulary is so important. Because one of the things that always gets me when you have people that are science deniers are things like things, really dumb things like, well, it's just a theory.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Like the theory of evolution
just a theory.
is just a theory. The theory of evolution by natural selection by Darwin that's been around for 130-something years.
And has been changing and evolving for that time.
No, I'm sorry. It's been around more than that.
Yeah.
My math isn't mathing. It's 202. No. 100 and...
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I
100
can't be pissed and do math at the same time.
100-something.
100-something years. 1859.
Okay.
Okay. So, a theory, germ the fact that we have doctors who don't believe in germ theory, Paul. I mean, if you don't believe in germ theory, how are you a doctor?
Exactly. So you think it's little demons crawling into your nose and giving you the sneezies?
Yeah.
Is that?
That's probably. Yeah. Theory of general relativity. People don't believe that. Why? Well, if you're a flat earther, you definitely don't believe that.
Well, yeah, right.
Plate tectonics. You don't believe it if you're a flat earther. Atomic theory, Big Bang theory, heliocentric theory.
Wow.
These are all things. Attachment theory, cognitive dissonance theory, social learning theory. These are all theories that we have, like physics and biology and psychology presented. So I know you're laughing because I know
hurts my head.
It hurts your head. So let's go back to the scientific method. Well, how did we start? We had a hypothesis, right? Hypothesis is your answer to the question. It's a predictive answer to the question. Then you have to test it using a valid and reliable research method, right? It's not just your idea of how to do this. Okay, this is the part where usually the the public doesn't understand what we mean by a valid and reliable research method. Like, well, no, I asked 3 of my neighbors and they all agreed with me.
Yeah.
It's like, no, that's called anecdotal evidence, and that's not evidence.
Realize that when we say things like, happiness and meaning and
marital
satisfaction,
cognitive dissonance, these are defined.
Right. All of these, with my students, usually the question is, can you measure that? And if so, how?
Can you define it?
Can you define it and measure it? That's, so think about that.
Right. So if my hypothesis, after we tested it with a reliable and valid method, is significant, what does that mean? Well, it means that it was a tested hypothesis. Period.
That's it.
That's all it means.
Yeah.
A theory is a well-substantiated explanation of that question. In other words, I tested the hypotheses and those that came from the original research over and over and over again, and got a lot of positive results and some negative ones to come up with an explanation.
Right.
Yeah. So a theory is founded in tested hypotheses.
Yes. Yeah.
So when you're watching a TV drama, specifically like a law drama, or like any kind of investigation thing, if you're like most women in the world and you're doing stuff, and you hear them say, "What's your theory?" You should scream at the TV the way I do, because it's not a theory. It's a hypothesis. Yeah. What's your guess on this one?
Right.
What do you think happened? And then they have to test it by finding the evidence.
Yes. And not one piece of evidence.
Yeah, a bunch of it.
Right. Lots of pieces of evidence.
Lots of pieces of evidence, okay? Our producer is telling us to wrap it up, but he doesn't understand. We're passionate, and there was a chunk there.
Yes. Oh, don't worry. Just think.
Yeah. So then, what pisses me off is things like the theory of evolution is just a theory. When you have fossil evidence, when you have geological evidence, when you have, you have all of these things dated back, and you have seen the changes that even to this day, we can see changes and evolution within species.
Yeah. And the thing is, okay, I want people to understand. Theories do evolve.
Yes.
Okay.
Because science evolves.
Because that is that scientific process. That is what we're talking about. That does not invalidate the theory. Okay. So theory of evolution. Darwin's original theory, the way he presented it, is not necessarily the way that we understand it now. Like now we have plateau and there's a bunch of other fine points within that theory. That does not mean that, we're just changing our minds. Right, chuck out the baby. It was wrong because it keeps changing.
But the thing is that, yes, when science learns, we take in the new information to the theory. If it fits, if we can make it fit, then great. If not, we have to test to see what happened here.
That's what problem was with Wakefield, right? Yeah. It did not fit in with the established scientific theories.
Or the ones that they continue doing to try to replicate his work. This isn't like, this is what the mainstream believes, and so you're against the mainstream, so we're not going to accept it. No, that's not how it works. And that's what they want you to think. What the reality is that the new information comes in, much like the time of COVID, where we didn't know how the virus was transmitted. So in the beginning, they were like, don't wear masks. We don't know how it's transmitted.
Right.
Like 2 seconds later, they went, oh, shoot, it's water particles.
Right. Now we know.
Wear a mask.
Yep.
Stay 6 feet apart.
Yeah.
Don't be close to people. And that was proven over and over and over again to be a wonderful prophylactic. I threw in the word. for avoiding or, not catching COVID back then.
Yeah.
It still is now, but
Mhm.
most of us don't mask up unless we're like in a plane or a train or something like that.
Okay, so I guess we should be wrapping up now.
Okay.
Right? We will have a lot more science in the future.
Yes. And everything that we're going to do is going to be talking about science.
Yeah, it's going to be science-based.
Everything is science-based. Yeah. So if you want good science-based stuff, stay tuned to PsyABC's. If you are a professional in psychology, specifically a licensed professional, we will be offering CEUs very soon. And we look forward to continuing our quite passionate podcasting. This has been Dr. Elizabeth Reyes-Fournier.
And Dr. Paul Reyes-Fournier.
Have a wonderful day and a wonderful week and a wonderful life.
Yeah, thank you for listening.